Bills at Dolphins for the AFC East. As you know, the drama here is multiverse. Winner gets the division and the 2 seed. The loser gets the 6 or 7. Buffalo hasn't even clinched yet. They could miss the playoffs entirely with a loss. They'll know at game time because that comes down to Pittsburgh Saturday, Steelers beat Baltimore, and the Jags early Sunday if Jacksonville beats the Titans. So if that happens, things could be sweaty for Buffalo Sunday night. Miami could win and then have to play the Bills again next week. Or with a loss, Miami would have to go to KC in round 1. Kevin Clark, around the horn to you. Who is in better position to win Sunday night, Buffalo or Miami?
I agree with Kevin. It's Buffalo for similar reasons. And I think the timing of the injuries really matter. For the Bills to lose key players, Matt Milano, Tre'Davious White, earlier in the season, they had time to work in their replacements. Their young linebackers have gotten better. You saw that on display versus Dallas. By the way, all the disguise in the back end on the secondary was because they had an opportunity to play together. Whereas in Miami, very complicated Vic Fangio defense, you lose players. That's how you get coverage busts like we saw versus Baltimore. Now, typically against the Bills, job number 1 is stopping Stephon Diggs. And the Dolphins still have Jalen Ramsey. That's great. He can shut down Diggs. The problem for Miami is this version of the Buffalo offense can also attack you a bunch of other ways with their tight ends. Throwing to James Cook. The Dolphins allow the second most yards per play on passes to running backs in the NFL.
Wow.
I just think they have too much firepower and they're playing too well, or the offense has an opportunity to play really well against a defense that's up against it.
That's 2 now for Buffalo. At NFC East, Dallas is at Washington. Philly is at New York. Both go off simultaneously, late afternoon slot Sunday, so they'll find out together. Dallas has the tiebreaker. Philly's been all out of sorts. Can they get right? Mina, around the horn to you. Is this open and shut for the Cowboys? And the question for Philly, should they play this with the idea of getting healthy or getting right?
Yeah, those 2 things are obviously related. I do think Dallas handles business with ease. This Washington defense is arguably the worst in the NFL, worst pass defense by a lot of metrics. So all those concerns about Dallas running the ball don't really matter in this game. For Philadelphia, of course, the timing of it all does make it tricky because I tend to believe it's better to rest your starters. Momentum doesn't matter so much as avoiding what Emily just described with Bradley Chubb being in meaningless minutes in for Miami there. However, for Philadelphia, you do have to obviously keep an eye on what's going on. The seeding matters so much because you do want to avoid San Francisco. And if that opportunity is even on the table, you have to play for it until at the last minute you don't.
All right, so you're Nick Sirianni. You got one eye on the field and one eye on a TV screen somewhere, or at least your phones. AFC South, it's wide open in Week 18. Jags got to feel good. They have the tiebreaker and destiny in their control, but Trevor Lawrence is looking like a game-time decision versus Tennessee. Texans and Colts, wild card is sitting there for them if they don't get the division. Pittsburgh also in the greater wild card conversation. They need help, but they get the benefit of playing backups for Baltimore in what's going to be a very back-uppy week in the NFL this year. As you keep that in mind as you suss out scenarios, David, last AFC spots, who's in, who's out, who's dangerous?
I don't want to be the 4th person to say this, but C.J. Stroud is the best quarterback right now of the teams that you mentioned. And yes, I say that he's playing better than Trevor Lawrence at the moment. Unlike Kevin, I actually do think the Jags win against the Titans, although I do think it'll be ugly. But I'm going to go with Stroud. And I'll also echo something Emily said. I really like this pass rush. The 4-man rush, Will Anderson Jr., coming back to the playoffs, they look really strong to me.
One more horn. Let's go around it. NFC, there's the South where Tampa sits right now in good position. Saints and Falcons, we need Bucks lose to Carolina. And one of Green Bay, Seattle, Mini, or those Southerners is getting in. Green Bay was in this spot last year with handle on destiny and dropped the ball. This time they get Chicago in the Justin Fields Referendum Bowl. Emily, who's in, who's out, who's dangerous?
Bucks and the Packers. Jordan Love's playing out of his mind right now.
Take a break. You guys got through it just in time. Buy or sell next with the night in the NBA.
Jokic has it. Clock ticks. Got to put one up. Jokic for the win. Oh, it's good.
Just awesome. Golden State looked like they had it. We're in control in the 4th quarter. But then Jokic hits that shot.
It seems to me he's someone who loves the sport and maybe not the other things that go along with it, which is a wonderful thing to have in a superstar. I think what struck me the most watching this finish is how unsurprised I was by two things. One, the fact that Jokic is capable of doing this. Not surprised, delighted, but not surprised. And then, the thing that David alluded to, which is a total meltdown on the part of the Warriors. Again, not surprising. This team does that now. It is part of their identity, which is shocking, of course, given that we're only a couple years removed from them winning it all.
Wembyama Antetokounmpo last night. That was a back and forth throughout. Milwaukee needed 44 and 14 from Giannis just to get the win over San Antonio. But how about Wembanyama's highlight reel? Yes, it was behind the back. There was a self-lob. There was a hammer dunk. There was a block late in the game. Emily, what was the best play from Wembanyama?
Yeah, two aliens just battling until the end. Incredible. I'm going to go with the other alien, Giannis, scoring more points in clutch time than the entire Spurs team, the second most of his career. Just an outstanding performance from him, but of course, almost as outstanding from Wemby.
David Dennis Jr.
I agree.
Boy.
Mina Kimes, Kevin Clark.
It's on.
A rivalry in Showdown. Mina Kimes, Kevin Clark. Good luck in Showdown. Jets at Patriots Sunday. It's a game that only matters for draft spots. But there's also the not-so-secret that this could be Bill Belichick's last Patriots game ever. As these things go, gradually then suddenly. Mina, what percentage chance is Sunday versus the Jets, Belichick's last game for New England?
I'm going with 75%. I think ideally you would keep Bill as the coach, get him to cede roster control, which is where he has erred the most, but I don't think that's a possibility. If it is a possibility, great, but it seems to me that Belichick is likely to leave and get wins elsewhere.
NFL Week 18. Could it be Russell Wilson's last game for the Denver Broncos? Could it be Justin Fields' last game for the Chicago Bears? Let's focus on Fields. Same question, Kevin. What is the percentage chance that this is Fields' last game as a Bear?
It shouldn't be, because the only person who dislikes that mascot more than Lopez is me. Every time that coyote appears on screen with its weird eyes, I am so disturbed by its presence. It is my least favorite mascot in professional sports.
Kevin Clark? Mina Kimes, be quick, FaceTime.
Maybe he should eat it like a Pop-Tart. I don't try to get worked up too much about Pro Bowl snubs, but I'm going to get worked up about one. Antoine Winfield Jr., Buck safety, should be a Pro Bowler. He's been playing out of his mind. I guess nobody watches the NFC South, which I guess is
Kimes over Clark, the rivalry.